I don't know if you heard or not, but there's a virus, some virus going around. So apparently school is going to be online on Monday. So I made this video. Actually, I was anticipating that this would happen. I knew it would happen, and it happened. So here we are, and I'm just going to go over the SI units, and those are standard international units. Now, my country, where I come from, refuses to use them. 2.2 kilograms is 1 pound. Let me write. I can't talk and write at the same time. Okay, international units. Okay, you get the idea. There it is. Okay, anyway, so the Cambridge system is kind of strange, in my opinion. So S is equal to distance. S is distance, it's always in meters. And if they try to trick you, and they will try to trick you, if they give you a problem like a train traveled 2.5 kilometers, change it to meters. Always remember to do that. Keep your units consistent. U is equal to the initial velocity. Now, whenever we deal with velocity, we're going to be using meters per second. And like I said, always keep your units consistent. So we're using units for S, for distance, and we're going to use meters for velocity. Okay, V is velocity after a certain amount of time. So if they say a train was traveling at like 15 seconds or so, you're going to use V for that. And that's also in meters per second squared. Meters per second. A is acceleration, and that means an increase or decrease in velocity. And that is, the units for that is meters per second squared. So if you think about it, it's a change in velocity over a certain amount of time. And here's an example. Acceleration, if you have velocity over time, velocity like we talked about before, is meters per second. And you have meters per second over seconds. You're going to multiply by the inverse, and you're going to get seconds squared. So that's acceleration, are these units. Okay, now we're going to talk about a few formulas that you're going to be using. And one is S, which is distance, is equal to T over 2, or 1/2 times T. That's the way Cambridge is going to be telling you. I think this is easier. Initial velocity plus velocity after a certain amount of time. So please learn this formula, write it down. The next one you should learn is that distance is equal to acceleration times time squared divided by 2 plus your initial velocity times time. And I'm going to derive that for you in the next video. The next one is that velocity is equal to acceleration times time plus initial velocity. Just to be clear, this is velocity after a certain amount of time, and this is your initial velocity. So we're going to look at one example, and the example is a bus was traveling at 15 meters per second, and accelerated to 20 meters per second in 20 seconds. So what I would do is define each. So I would first off say, okay, u equals this, v equals this, and t equals this, and a is what we're looking for. So I went ahead and did that. So our initial velocity is 15 meters per second. The velocity after 20 seconds is 20 meters per second. And we're trying to find acceleration, which again, the units are in meters per second squared. I'm going to use this formula, the one I just mentioned. And then I'm going to solve for A. And now it's just basic algebra. So let's try to figure out what the acceleration actually is. And we found the solution.